This is Shaun Sport in podcast form.
Footy is officially back, and this season the place to watch AFL live on Saturdays is on Fox Footy, available on KO Sports. Yep, live Saturday footy every round with no ad breaks in play. We're going to catch up with former Australian netballer Bianca Chatfield, and we're going to be talking all things sport right now. G'day, B.
Morning.
Good morning. How are we going over there?
We are wonderful.
Well, our footy teams aren't. So it was a rough weekend for us, Bianca, I'll be honest. Yeah.
It was a rough weekend. I mean, I'm sure no one wants to hear about the West Coast Gold Coast game. But, I mean, I thought it was a good show by the Gold Coast Suns. We don't often say that, but they're certainly starting off the season quite well.
They
Bianca,
played outstanding.
We don't like your attitude, Bianca.
I think the West Coast midfielder. You know what, B, we know that you are a Collingwood supporter, so you're with the dark side, right? So they had a massive win over Port Adelaide. And a lot of the footy shows yesterday were talking about the fact that, I mean, it's good that your team, smashes another team. That's all well and good. But Port Adelaide, with their coaching succession plan, it's already hit the skids.
Yes. I would love to know what's going on internally. We all would, right? And there's a million different footy shows who are talking about all the different things. But, you'd love to know how Ken Hinkley feels about it all and what the structures are in place for the actual takeover, what it's going to look like, and how much role does Carr play in this season. I find it fascinating. But, clearly, surely there's some pretty strong foundations in place. Hinkley was under all sorts of pressure last year, but just to try and make it a little bit more seamless in the changeover. I don't know what's going to happen there, but I hope they get some wins on the board because it's going to be a pretty nasty year if they don't.
Well, they said it from day one, though. I mean, as soon as it was announced that Ken has already handed over the reins to Josh for the end of the next, or for 2026, right? Every person out there said, this isn't going to work because the players are going to kind of half switch off.
Yes. The commitment from the player. I mean, not that the players aren't committed, but, you just didn't. Psychologically, I reckon, you're just not going to listen to him. If he says something that you personally don't agree with, you could just write it off,
Well, yeah, I know. But then if you're the athlete in that, yes, you want to listen to Hinkley, but you're certainly not going to, you're going to want to listen to Carr and what he's going to take the team in that direction. And so that may change the way you do actually play because you're thinking a bit differently about it. So they've probably set themselves up for a bit of a tough year just by announcing it early. And
these things haven't really worked that well in the past, the other teams that have tried it.
No, the only way it works is John Longmire, who's handed over to Dean Cox, right? He got to the end of the year. It's all done and dusted. Yes. Weeks later, he announces that Dean Cox is taking over from him.
It wasn't like he said, I'm going to stick around for another year and then Coxie will take over.
No.
It was they drew a line. Yeah.
And then Port play Richmond this weekend. So Richmond are back after somehow beating Carlton on Friday night. I'm not sure how that happened.
Wasn't it an amazing game, really, when you think about it? It's an incredible comeback. And given that there's so much inexperience in the Richmond side, to come back from where they did was amazing.
Can I just say, though, the youngest team on the weekend was the Fremantle Dockers.
Yeah.
Did you know that?
Yeah. Oh, no, I didn't know that.
The youngest team competing on the weekend was the Fremantle Dockers, who were younger than the Richmond Football Club in terms of games and on an age perspective.
The average age,
But certainly from a games perspective.
So they're building. Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm just trying to find an excuse why we got pumped by
that was
Cats.
A straw and he clutched at it.
It makes sense because people want to tell you about the young Richmond and the young Eagles and all this, but Fremantle's still younger. They've got good players though, but they need to get there. Hey, B, we'll change tack for a second. We did mention yesterday that the West Coast Fever, there looked like there was a bit of heartbeat, and we were wondering how it was all going to, kind of play out this season without Janelle.
Yeah, without Janelle Fowler and Emma. Yeah, but they did all right in the Team Girls Cup.
Do you know what? They were impressive. And every single game they played, they were really impressive. You've got a young gun in Olivia Wilkinson, who we've seen bits and pieces of, and she's, certainly not a, newbie to the team anymore, but she was outstanding in that goal shooter position. She adds a different look to what obviously Fallon Emma has.
Yes.
And just fitted in so well. So her connection with Alice Teague-Neal at wing attack, I just loved it. And then the Ariang sisters in defence, Ruth and Sunday, they are just lethal. They were pulling in plenty of ball. I honestly, the Fever have to go in as one of the favourites this season.
Oh.
Because of their versatility and how, they just over the weekend looked like they could handle no matter what teams threw at them. So even though they didn't win the final in the end to the Thunderbirds,
by a point,
they exactly. There was lots of, changing of teams and combinations out there, and Dan Ryan, what he does well is his strategy and tactics behind all of that. So he probably was not going to show all of his cards at pre-season anyway.
It has been a test for Dan because the one strategy was just get it to
Chuck
Janelle.
it to Janelle.
And if you don't chuck it to Janelle, just take a seat on the bench because that's how we're going to win. But now he's got other strings to his bow.
I love that you said that. Can we say that in commentary? I don't know.
For sure.
It was a very effective strategy for a long time. So, getting more inventive is obviously going to be the challenge, but also he's rising to it, which is great.
Yeah, can I just say, back in the day when North Melbourne was so good and Wayne Carey was the number one player, in fact, Wayne Carey would go, if it was a tight game, he'd go in at the three-quarter time huddle and he would say, boys, just kick it near me. And we'll get out of here with the win.
Not even kick it to me, just kick it near me.
Kick it near me. And we'll do the rest.
I wish. Imagine being that good. But Janelle fell in MR too. Imagine just being that good. Just throw it to me. I'll be right. I'll put it in. I'll shoot 60 plus every single game.
You were a defender, weren't you, back in your day?
Yes, so I actually I started playing on Janelle towards the end of my career.
Was that the reason your career ended?
Yeah, for me to say, Bianca, you can't jump anymore and you can't match her for height, so you probably need to take a seat on the sidelines.
You wouldn't be the Lone Ranger there.
Then you went on the block. It all makes sense. Your career makes sense, Bianca, when you think about it.
Hey, Bianca, thanks so much for your time. New to KO, everybody. Visit kosports.com.au and get on board today.
Thanks, Bianca.
Shaun Sport is a Nova podcast. For more great comedy shows like this, head to novapodcast.com.au.